Forza Motorsport has been a much anticipated title for quite a while now, and it's definitely received mixed reviews since its release. However, there's already a million reviews on YouTube, so I wanted to test out this game in an unconventional way. What does the new Forza Motorsport have to offer? This is the 2015 Formula Mazda, with a 1.3-liter rotary engine, producing 180 horsepower and weighing only 1,200 pounds. This car has been in previous Forza Motorsport titles, and it's a blast to drive. But how does it handle in the brand new game? Today, we're going to do 2 races to test out some of the handling aspects of the new Forza Motorsport. The track we're going to be racing on is the Maple Valley Raceway, a fictional track in the Forza Motorsport franchise. We've selected the short layout of the track, so it's going to be a very fast lap, and we're only doing 5 laps this race. And as you can see, we're racing against a full field of Formula Mazdas, and we are green flag running on the straight. A pretty good launch right there, right off the line. Instantly got good traction, no wheel spin pretty much at all. Switching to the inside into this long sweeping right-hander. The first corner of this lap is a very, very long right-hander. Unfortunately, a little bit of understeer already. You can hear the tires scrubbing, and you can see that steering angle is locked to the right. It looks like up ahead there should be a little bit of an accident. A couple cars heading off the road. Unfortunately, the AI in this game seems to be absolutely terrible so far. The very limited play experience I've had so far, the AI are horrendous. They slam into the side of you, fly off the track, and they just generally can't race side by side with anyone else. But already making really good progress up the field into 6th position, 5th position, now 3rd. Wow, that was a very quick succession of overtakes right there, but already on the podium position by lap 2. So you can tell the AI are not really good. This is also on the hardest difficulty. For some reason, the difficulty is only from 1 to 8, which is a very weird scale for the AI. And I also have to add that the hardest level of AI, the level 8, the most difficult level of your AI competitors, is really not that challenging. It's not very difficult to be faster than these guys. Obviously, all these cars are completely equal performance. There's no upgrades. I don't own the car, so I haven't been able to purchase any upgrades for it. I'm not allowed to access the tuning menu, so these cars are all completely base stock and all completely equal. But I've already made up so many positions, and I'm clearly faster than this guy in front of us in 2nd place. So the fastest AI in this game are not very fast, to put it very simply, but the handling model on this car is very interesting as well. So it's very, very understeery through this long right-hander. There's not really any places where the car has an opportunity for oversteer unless you do that right there, which just brake into the corner, shift down, and it kind of kicks out the rear end a little bit, and it kind of puts you into sort of a half drift. But there's not really even an opportunity to overcorrect and have the rear end kick out completely sideways. It's very difficult, I've found, to produce oversteer in this car. And other cars I've raced so far, it's still quite difficult to produce oversteer. Most cars are very, very understeery. I haven't really had even one car that's been naturally oversteery, which is quite disappointing because the way I like to drive in any type of sim racing game, or pretty much any racing titles, I like an oversteery car. So unfortunately, you're not allowed to access the setups. You can't change anything about the car. You have to drive it bone stock, and there's just not really any way to produce any oversteer. But on to the final lap now, lap 5 of 5. So far making really good progress. You can see just moments ago we sped up the lap just to make it a little less painful for you guys watching. But behind the 1st place runner right now, and hopefully we can get an overtake before this lap ends. The lap is so fast. It's about 40 seconds per lap, 45 seconds around there, and it's just generally really quick. So by the time you get towards the second half of the lap, you feel like it just started. So it's very difficult to judge when an overtake is appropriate and when to go for that move. But it looks like we're probably going to be going for that move right about now into the final corner, this quick little chicane right here, side by side, up to the finish line, and I believe we have 1st place, and that is a 1st place finish from the very back of the grid. But this got me thinking, what if we added Formula Mazdas and slower traffic? What would that traffic be? E-Class. Alright, into our 2nd race now, and this one is going to be a lot more challenging. Most of the field consists of the Formula Mazdas, and the rest of the field is E-Class cars, the lowest possible class of cars. These guys are going to be extremely slow. What I'm going to do is pull to the side here, and we're going to start a lap down. This race is going to be 10 laps. I'm going to start a lap behind everyone else and see how fast I can catch up to the rest of the field. You can see quite an interesting start from those Formula Mazdas right here. And another car going off the track. You can see how terrible the AI is. However, all the E-Class cars are behaving quite nicely. They're just in a straight line, going through the corners with no issue at all. So maybe it's an AI problem with cars like the Formula Mazda. I'm not really too sure, but speeding up the lap a little bit now, and these guys are passing us We're about to be a full lap down from the rest of the field, so we have pretty much 9 laps to catch up to the rest of these guys because they're all a lap ahead. So we'll see how far up the order we can get and how good the Formula Mazda is compared to this traffic. Already seeing a big group of cars around the first corner, the long right-hander. One guy's off the track. That makes it a little bit easier for me. A little bit of contact with that Formula Mazda in front. I know it's a little bit difficult to see which car I am in that camera angle, but switching back to cockpit view and just swooping around the outside of all these cars. Into this corner, it's going to be a little bit tricky to keep it on the track and brake in the right spot because there's going to be a lot of traffic in the way. That is one thing I've also noticed about the AI. They seem to just park it on the curbs and brake in really unconventional places. Into this kind of short, fast chicane right here, you can see the AI will park it on these curbs. They'll brake into this corner, and you see how slowly they're going on exit. That is taking completely flat in pretty much any car. It's not very difficult to go flat through there. So it's very interesting that the fastest level of AI, the best level, the most challenging level, supposedly, is braking on a corner that's completely flat out. But passing more cars around the outside into turn 1, and we're pretty close to unlapping ourselves. So it's taking us 2 laps to unlap ourselves, which is honestly a little bit slower than I thought it would be. But overall, the handling in clear air is pretty good. It's, again, very, very understeery. Into this corner, I can sort of try to produce a little bit of oversteer, but you can see the tires just scrubbing and really, really struggling to, rotate the front end of the car in. But back to the race, we're on the main straight yet again in the slipstream of this car, and he is in first place, so we've officially unlapped ourselves. Skipping ahead just a little bit, and we are on lap 4 around the first corner, that sweeping right-hander, and we are in 23rd position. That was our first overtake that actually mattered on paper. So finally unlapped ourselves, and we're back overtaking cars 4 positions, which is definitely nice. We definitely need to get a move on, though, if we want to go for a first-place finish. I'm hoping we can at least get a podium. The thing that's going to matter is how many of these slower cars are remaining in the lead. Once the Formula Mazdas get past them, it might be game over for us because it's going to take a lot more effort to catch up to these guys. The Formula Mazdas are going to be stuck behind these slower cars. As you can see, this huge group of cars in turn 1. A little bit of kick of oversteer right there. Slight contact, trading paint with that Formula Mazda on the right. And we're going to continue to use the outside line and just pass everyone on that corner. So that was definitely a very productive group of overtakes right there. That was probably around like 9 or 10 positions that we just gained right there. So up into the top 10 now, braking hard into this corner. Again, really struggling to have the car rotate through this corner. This one specifically has been quite an issue. The last corner of the lap, or I guess this is technically the last corner of the lap, but that kind of hairpin right and then this long right of the first corner are very difficult to have any sort of rotation through the corner. It's super understeery. You can hear the tires scrubbing, and there's just really not any rotation. I've tried different lines. I've tried, jamming on the brakes, downshifting to try to kick out the rear end a little bit, which does work. But again, there's not really enough traction then in the Formula Mazda to, go into a real drift. It's very difficult to just get around that corner quickly and efficiently. Into this corner as well. This is the one I was just talking about. Again, really struggling for rotation and just kind of understeering out wide. That's unfortunately making all of my lines, all of the racing lines into these corners, very terrible. They're not outside, inside, outside. They're not hitting any apexes. It's just very difficult to get any type of rotation. But into about almost the top 5 now. And unfortunately, you can see these 2 cars in front getting stuck behind the Formula Mazda. He goes out wide. I was planning on using that outside line again to pass these guys, and unfortunately just getting a little bit stuck. That cost us a lot of time. Another unfortunate thing is that blue car used to be the first place runner. So I believe that means the rest of the cars, the top 3, are all going to be Formula Mazdas, which might be trouble for us. We're going to have to catch up to a faster car in no traffic. So hopefully they get caught up trying to lap some of the slower cars, and that can give us an opportunity to make up some time on them. Unfortunately, losing a little bit of time behind that Formula Mazda into turn 1, but we're just going to have to deal with it. Passing this guy on the right, he's obviously a lapped car in 4th position, and we are now on lap 8. So only a couple laps remaining, and we're going to have to see how fast we can catch up to these guys. Again, it's very difficult to get any type of rotation through this first corner. You can see my steering angle. It's really far to the right. You can see that that's not really how you should be driving a race car around a track. The more you're turning the wheel, the more understeer you're producing, and it's just not it's not a very effective way of going through the corner. It's bad for your tires, and it's bad for the timing sheets as well. So that's not how a race car should be driven, especially a Formula car. I know it's a Formula Mazda. It's not super, high tech, but it does have a lot of downforce. It has a front wing, a rear wing, It's an open wheel car, so it should have more grip through these corners. But anyway, heading on to lap 9 now, lapping that Formula Mazda car, and he's definitely having a bad day. Again, this is on the hardest difficulty, and I'm lapping a car that's the exact same specs as my car, so they definitely need to do some work with the AI. But you can see, again, more understeer. Look at that steering angle into this corner. It's not a hard corner. I should not be turning the wheel that much. Finally getting a big kick of oversteer, going into a little bit of a drift right there. But I also really had to force that to happen. I had to slam on the brakes while turning into the corner, downshift, go way past the rev limiter. It's absolutely screaming on the red line, and that is what kicks out the rear end. So it's quite difficult to produce oversteer. It shouldn't be that I have to produce it myself, and also not having access to any type of setup or tuning menu. So that's definitely something this game has to work on, is that if all these cars are going to be super understeer, you should at least give the player an option to have a setup menu or a tuning menu, even if you're renting the car. This is technically a rented car. I don't own this car. I didn't purchase it in the in-game credit system, but you should still be able to tune your car for the track you're driving on. I think it's a little bit annoying that I'm having to deal with these problems and having no way to fix it besides changing the way I drive. And the car is also not adhering to the style that I drive in naturally. So there's definitely some stuff this game has to work on, but I'll give you a little bit of a rundown after we finish this race. On lap 10 now, unfortunately not able to get that first place finish, but we'll take a second place after starting a lap down behind everyone. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my thoughts about my initial impressions of Forza Motorsport. First off, if you rent a car and want to experiment with different things, you don't have any access to a tuning menu or setup changes. This is crucial to any racing game. Setup changes and tuning menus allow the player to change things about the car in order to fit their driving style, and limiting that option to owned cars doesn't allow the player to experiment with any car the way they want to. Second, the AI is horrible. They park it on the curbs, they brake check you on sections of the track that should be taken at full throttle, they use bad racing lines, they turn into you, and they brake at super unconventional places. This needs to be fixed no matter what. There's no excuse for an AI system this bad. As a sub-point of this, the AI level is stupid. Why is it 1 through 8? On top of this, level 8 is not really difficult. Of all the races I've done so far, it feels like level 8 makes 90% of the field have the driving skills of an infant, and then the AI in first place is pretty good. It doesn't make any sense. Lastly, but arguably the most important, the driving mechanics are okay at best. Braking is a real issue. When braking into the corner, it feels like every single wheel takes on the same amount of pressure, and it's not possible to lock up one wheel, something that literally every other racing game can produce. The cars are also insanely understeery, every single one of them, and it's not possible to coax any type of rotation out of the front end. And again, there's no setup menu to change this. Overall, there are a lot of issues with this game. I just hope they start to fix it pretty soon. But that being said, there are a lot of options for different cars and different tracks, so it's fun to experiment with something new. The problem is they just need to fix the way you can experiment. If you enjoy the content from Forza Motorsport and want to see any more, leave a comment below or in my Discord, which is linked in the description. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.